Hi, welcome to MG Life Hacks. I am your host. I am a patient that has generalized myasthenia gravis, and I created this channel to try and help other people that have that diagnosis because I've come across a couple of things that have helped me out, and I want to share. In this video, I'm going to talk about CPAP, or Bi-Pap, sorry. I confuse it with CPAP because my dad had a CPAP for sleep apnea. A BiPAP is similar. I don't know if they're the exact same. Anyway, what it's like, because I'm more of the type of person that would like to know as far in advance as I can about different medical situations that I might run across having this illness, especially because a lot of my symptoms, when they're escalating or the antibody levels are pretty high, I tend to have trouble breathing. It's one of my big indicators. And when people say trouble breathing, it's kind of a vague term, but for me, it means there's nothing obstructing my breathing. I can breathe. It's just, I can't get a satisfying breath of air. I'm breathing a lot. It's almost like hyperventilating, like you're breathing a lot and there's not a breath you can take in that will make you feel like you just took a breath. It feels like no matter how much you breathe, it's not taking, if that makes sense. It's kind of a vague term. For anybody watching this, again, I am a patient. This is not medical advice by any stretch. I am in a branch of accounting for a living. This is just my experience that I can speak to. Anyway, I was recently hospitalized because of dangerously low potassium and magnesium levels. And what was surprising to me this time around is that I didn't have any kind of myasthenia gravis symptoms, because it kind of tends to go like on this nice curve if you're on a well-managed plan. If you start to have symptoms, most of the time they come on gradually. This did not. It dropped like a hammer. I was completely fine, and then I noticed some severe uptick in general overall muscle weakness, and within about 10-15 minutes I couldn't stand and I couldn't breathe. So doing fine now, obviously. It is important to know when you're in the hospital, I think, as a patient, when they are throwing things around like, hey, have you ever been on a BiPAP? Do you want us to ventilate you? I've never been on a ventilator yet, and I was just unable to speak, basically. I was just trying to get in air and speak between gasps for breath, not to scare anybody. This probably, hopefully, will never happen to you, and you're just preparing in advance. However, in the event it does, what they offered me was something called the Bi-Pap machine, and they said it's going to help you breathe. We really need to help you breathe because you're so weak, and we need to get some treatments underway to help combat the myasthenia gravis and get that back under control, among other things. What it is it's a plastic mask, and it goes over your face, and what it does is it pushes air in, and it's trying to breathe for you. It's an assisted breathing device. It's not a ventilator. It's nothing that's going in and down. It's just a mask that goes over your face, but there's a force of air that pushes, and it's stressful when you're in a hospital and you're struggling to breathe and take as much information in as you can and try not to absolutely panic. It's very counterintuitive because you see someone coming at you with a plastic mask, and how is that going to help me breathe? You're trying to suffocate me. It's unusual. When it was on, I didn't understand the principle of it. or how it really worked. They didn't really have a whole lot of time to explain it to me because I was really struggling. Bless them for trying, though, in their abbreviated form. So what you want to do is ask them or try and communicate if you can't breathe at all and it is just stifling you, and they will probably with great hesitation take it off. What it's trying to do is it's trying to push air into your lungs so that you're not sucking air in, which does involve muscle. And when you are releasing breath, it will then, stop and allow you to expel the air from your lungs. You won't really have to push that hard to, get it out of your lungs. You just relax. As counterintuitive as it is, really try and relax. Really, really, really try to relax. There is a way to adjust the force of air and the flow. And if the specialist is, trying to manage things there, you can ask them, can you turn it down? Can you turn it down? Like turn it down. And speaking, you can speak with the mask on, but it does take a lot of effort. It takes a lot of strength. I really couldn't tell you where it comes from, but it does take a lot to try and speak because you're having to speak over this really, loud machine that's, I don't know, it didn't really sound like Darth Vader, but it is a machine. It's noisy. It does serve a really good purpose. It does really help you breathe when you're having a really hard time breathing. It is something that if you have very compassionate nurses, they will take you off as soon as humanly and safely possible, because it's not pleasant, but it's not the worst thing ever. It's, it's one of those things, it's necessary. If you have a family member or a friend or someone who can advocate for you, you can also ask for something to write with if you're still able to, hold a pen and, hold things. Or you can, if you have your phone on you by any chance, you could type a message and then show them and communicate that way. These are, of course, all the things that I thought about after I was discharged from the hospital. So again, I'm hoping to help someone learn from my experience because now I know to do that. But it is one of those things where you have to try and relax into it, and it will sort of adjust and react to you. So when you're speaking, it will start to, kind of fluctuate a little bit and kind of try and push air as you're speaking out. So it might take a little bit of time every time you speak to adjust itself back to your breathing. It is legitimately trying to help you breathe, but it is a little unnerving at first when you have this plastic thing and it's just, you feel like you can't breathe, and then there's this thing pushing against your efforts to breathe. It's kind of scary at first. So do your best. Don't do what I did. Try and relax as best you can. It is a human reaction to, feel really anxious when you're in the hospital and you're trying to get everything settled and what's happening. But that is a Bi-Pap machine, and that is how you can use a Bi-Pap machine. And again, if anybody else has this illness and you have a different experience with it, there are some people in the Facebook forums that breathe on a regular basis, periodically with it, depending on their symptom severity. So I'm sure there are a lot of other folks that have content that they could contribute if you're feeling ambitious. But I did want to share my experience and share some tips and tricks, because why not? We're here to help each other. But I hope this never happens to you, and I hope you have a really great day. Thanks.